If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in. Revelation 3:20. The house you live in is not just brick and paint, it is a vessel, a keeper of energy, prayers, pain, and promise. Even the smallest, most forgotten corners have been quietly holding pieces of your story, shaping the atmosphere around you far more than you realized. And now, heaven is illuminating what was once dim. A sign has come, a call to spiritual awareness. You are being invited to see clearly what has waited so patiently in silence. So now, chosen one, if your spirit feels this tug, this divine summons, do not turn away. Respond with boldness. Type Amen in the comments below as a sign of your readiness. Let heaven see your agreement. And stay with this message until the end, because we will be closing in a powerful prayer to cleanse, bless, and awaken the space around you. The time is now. The light is here. The message is clear. The space around you has held not only the warmth of laughter, but also the stillness of silence. Yet, not all silence is empty. Some silence speaks. It lingers in the air like a soft breath, carrying stories and emotions that were never given voice. The angel now asks you to pay attention not to the loud or obvious, but to the subtle, the overlooked, the almost forgotten. There may be something small in your home, a box tucked away, an old letter sealed with faded intention, a misplaced item resting beneath layers of dust. These are not just things, they are vessels, and in the spiritual realm, they carry weight. Energy has wrapped itself around them, storing pieces of memory, fragments of emotion, and layers of meaning meant for this very moment. The angel has never taken its eyes off that quiet object. It remained still through seasons of joy and through nights when you struggled to find peace. What you may have passed by without thought has been holding a message, waiting, watching, and now awakening. This is not merely about what is hidden in the physical sense. This is about truth, about trust, about the sacred uncovering of what was long buried beneath your everyday life. He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness, and light dwells with him. Daniel 2:22. Something in your home is calling not for fear, but for clarity. What once settled into the background must now be brought into the light. And when that happens, the atmosphere will shift. Not violently, but gently, like a breeze, lifting a veil that once blurred your vision. Perhaps you felt it already, a strange pause in one room, an unexpected memory triggered by a smell or a sound, a sudden pull to open a drawer you haven't touched in years. These are not random urges. They are divine prompts, heaven's way of guiding your attention with kindness and intention. Your home, chosen one, is more than walls and furniture. It is a sanctuary, a reflection of your inner life. And now, it becomes a stage for truth to emerge. The angel is not pointing you toward darkness to cause fear, but to usher in freedom, to release what has quietly influenced your spirit. These hidden things have shaped the way you think, feel, and move without ever asking your permission. And now, by divine authority, they are being brought to the surface so you may live lighter, clearer, and whole. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. The unease you've sometimes felt in certain corners of your home, the chill in the air, the sudden stillness was not weakness. It was your spirit responding to a silent energy. It was truth pressing against the edge of your awareness, waiting for this moment of revelation. This is not the end of your peace, it is the beginning of a deeper kind of peace, one that comes when nothing is hidden anymore, when even the quietest corners of your life are touched by light. The angel now walks beside you, closer than your breath, guiding your hands, your eyes, and your steps toward what must be seen. And as you move with courage, remember, divine timing is never late. It is exact. And it comes not to break you, but to lift you, to clear the air around your soul, and to make room for what is holy. Let the truth breathe. Let the silence speak. And let your home become a place where light lives without interruption. The light of the Most High enters not with fanfare, but with authority. And when divine light speaks, darkness does not negotiate. It retreats quietly, without resistance, because it cannot remain where truth has been summoned. This is the moment long prepared for, the one heaven scheduled before you even realized there was something hidden in the room. The angel speaks still, with steady certainty. You will find the thing that has lingered unseen, yes, but more than that, you will understand it. You will see, not just with your eyes, but with wisdom. You will recognize its meaning, its journey, and the quiet role it has played in the atmosphere of your home. Every hidden thing speaks, not in language, but in energy, in subtle shifts of emotion, in the weight of a room, in the pause before you step into a space that used to feel familiar. This particular thing, whatever it may be, has been speaking loudly in the language of the Spirit. It has waited, but now it has reached the hour when hiding is no longer permitted. Divine light does not expose to shame. It reveals to free. And what you sense in your body, the goosebumps, the quickened breath, the strange awareness of presence, is the movement of holy energy preparing you for revelation. You have not imagined these feelings. They were heaven's signals calling your spirit to attention. Do not resist this moment. Do not flinch. Because what is being brought forward will not burden you. It will lift the burdens you didn't even realize you had grown used to carrying. The angel of the Lord is not only uncovering what was hidden, but guarding you in the process, wrapping your steps in the same kind of invisible protection that once surrounded the Israelites as they wandered in the wilderness. Just as a pillar of fire watched over them at night, so too now, divine presence encircles you. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. And so, the light now reveals, your house, this place where your soul rests, will no longer carry unseen heaviness. What once sat silently in the corners will no longer have permission to stay. The heavy air will lift, the emotional fog will clear. Rooms that once made you uneasy will breathe differently. This is a sacred cleansing, not with incense or ritual, but with truth, with light, with the authority of the One who sees all things in fullness and calls them forward at the perfect time. Many years ago, there was a woman, let us call her Miriam, who carried a deep sense of unrest in her home. She would walk through the hallways and feel a pressure in the air, like something unresolved was watching. For years, she ignored it, dismissing it as anxiety, as exhaustion, until one afternoon, during an ordinary moment, she felt drawn to open an old chest at the back of her closet. Inside was a bundle of letters from a relative long estranged, filled with bitterness and blame, unspoken words that had quietly influenced the atmosphere of the home. She wept not from fear, but from recognition. And when she chose to release those words, to forgive what had long sat in silence, everything shifted. Peace filled her house for the first time in decades. This is the kind of moment now arriving for you, not to harm, but to release, not to haunt, but to heal. Make me to know truth in the inward being. Teach me wisdom in the secret heart. Psalm 51-6. This is more than the discovery of an object. It is the untying of spiritual knots, the soft unraveling of soul-level tension that has subtly shaped how you move, how you feel, how you rest. The light that now pours through your walls is not decorative, it is purposeful. It cuts through ties you didn't know were there, ties connected to fear, grief, memories, or intentions placed long ago without your awareness. Your home was not meant to be a resting place for lingering shadows. It was meant to be a sanctuary of peace, and heaven is restoring it to that purpose now. In returning and rest you shall be saved. In quietness and in trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. What is surfacing now may have entered innocently, perhaps even through love, a gift, an heirloom, a token passed through generations. But time does not purify energy, only light does. And if the purpose it once carried has been fulfilled or turned sour, then it must be released. The angel has traced its path, has seen where it came from, and has waited patiently for your spirit to be ready to see it too. And now, as truth stands fully in the open, something ancient breaks. Something that once felt immovable will lift like mist touched by morning sun. This is not judgment, it is mercy. It is the kindness of heaven that chooses to cleanse your atmosphere, not by force but by invitation. It is the holy reset of your environment. The opportunity to reclaim your space not just as a place to exist, but as sacred ground where your spirit may flourish. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17. You are not walking this path alone. The angel is not distant. The divine is not watching from afar. There are unseen hands around you now, guarding your breath, steadying your steps. What you discover will not wound you. It will deliver you. It will change how you see your space. And more than that, it will change how your space sees you. It will welcome you again, as if for the first time. This is the holy clearing. This is the sacred unveiling. And your home will never hold silent weight again. For where light enters, freedom follows. And once freedom takes root, no shadow can remain. The angel is still near, still speaking not with thunder, but with quiet authority, reminding you that your dwelling belongs to the light, not to shadows, not to silence, not to things that enter uninvited and make a home of your peace. This is a sacred hour, a holy unfolding, where every unseen burden is being lifted and every quiet weight that once pressed against your chest is finally beginning to release. Your home is being made new, not with renovation, but with revelation. The presence of the Most High now fills your space, and where divine presence rests, there is no room for darkness to linger. Every corner that once carried mystery or unease is now being stirred by something deeper than wind. This is the movement of the Spirit, gentle but firm. Every hidden thing that once existed quietly in the background is now standing exposed beneath the steady light that never flickers. Light that doesn't ask permission. It simply arrives, and when it does, nothing dark can remain. The shadows, once comfortable in their stillness, now depart in silence. There is no war, because there is no contest. Light always wins. It always has. The unfolding of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. Psalm 119 to 130. And now you begin to feel it not just in your mind, but in your body. The tension in your shoulders begins to soften. The heaviness in your chest begins to lift. Your eyes begin to see what your spirit has been whispering about for days, perhaps even years. Something unseen has been taking up space, and now it has been called into the open, not to harm, but to free. The angel declares, "This will be a house of freedom, not silence. a place where no secret will linger long enough to dim the light again. And once that thing is seen, truly seen, something shifts. Your home breathes differently. The atmosphere feels lighter, not just because something was removed, but because truth has taken its rightful place. The truth that your home was always meant to be a place of rest, not residue. The Spirit of God is not rushing, but moving with purpose. Through every wall, every drawer, every hidden box you've forgotten about. And in those places, once filled with avoidance or numbness, there will now be clarity. Clarity that speaks without shouting, that heals without tearing, that invites peace to stay where fear once hovered. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Luke 12:32. There was once a woman who lived for years in a home she loved, but always avoided the basement. She would laugh about it, calling it creepy or musty, but there was something deeper she couldn't quite name. One day, following an urge she couldn't explain, she went downstairs and found an old box her late grandfather had stored there decades ago. Inside were journals filled with prayers, sorrows, and stories of spiritual warfare he had battled quietly in his time. She wept not from fear, but from recognition. The atmosphere had carried what was never resolved, and by acknowledging it, praying through it, and releasing it, she changed not only her basement, but her entire home. The basement became a prayer room, and the house was never the same again. Stories like this aren't rare. The spiritual world does not separate from the physical one. What rests in your home can shape your peace, your clarity, even your sleep. But now, the angel is assuring you this is a season of reclaiming, not through chaos, but through steady uncovering. The silence is breaking not harshly, but clearly, because divine power will not allow anything hidden to dictate the atmosphere of your life any longer. Let your eyes look straight ahead, fix your gaze directly before you, give careful thought to the paths for your feet, and be steadfast in all your ways. Proverbs 4:25-26. Even now, something in your spirit is leaning toward a space in your home, a place you haven't looked closely at for some time. A shelf, a room, a drawer that feels off. And though you might not know why, the atmosphere around it feels slightly different, as if the air itself has been waiting for your presence. This is not your imagination. This is guidance. The angel is clearing the way, not with fire, but with quiet precision, with gentle insistence. The way a shepherd clears the path for the sheep. The presence of darkness will not stand where the light of truth chooses to remain. Your home is no longer hosting silence, it is hosting strength, sacred strength. And in that strength, nothing that does not belong will be allowed to stay. This message was never about fear. It has always been about restoration, about seeing clearly what once lingered in shadows and choosing once and for all to make your home what it was always meant to be. A sanctuary, not a storage for unresolved things, not a resting place for what drains your spirit, but a house of light, a house of safety, a house of God's peace. My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes, in undisturbed places of rest. Isaiah 32:18. The angel is still speaking, still watching, still walking through your space with you, not behind, not above, but beside you. There is nothing you will face in this unveiling that has the power to overwhelm you, for the light has come, and the light will stay, and every secret, no matter how small, must bow to it. Every corner will be filled with strength, every room will breathe freely, and your home will become what heaven intended from the beginning, a place of peace, wholeness, and holy presence. And now, You may begin to feel something shift within, a soft stirring deep in the chest, like a gentle bell echoing in a silent cathedral. It is not fear, it is not anxiety, it is awareness, alertness, a spiritual awakening rising like the hush before dawn. This stirring is not coming from within you alone. It is a response to divine guidance, quietly calling you to rise and walk through your home, not with suspicion or dread, but with open eyes and a steady heart. This is not a confrontation with darkness. This is communion with truth. The hidden thing that lingers in your space has no power left to resist. Its time has already been marked by the voice of the Almighty. Long before you noticed its presence, heaven had already spoken its departure. And the angel is not showing you this for harm, but for healing. The light seeks not to destroy, but to restore. Every object that finds its way into your home carries a story, a residue of the hands and hearts that once held it. But not every story is meant to remain. Not every object is meant to be a permanent guest. Some carry echoes that grow heavy with time, and some have simply stayed too long, silently shaping the atmosphere in ways you were never meant to carry. The story tied to this hidden thing is old, maybe even forgotten, but its weight has not faded, yet now the light has touched it. And when true light reaches something, it doesn't just illuminate, it weakens every shadow that once drew strength from silence. This is not just the cleansing of space, it is the release of history, a lifting of burdens born from memories, attachments, and energies that never belonged to your present. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? Psalm 27:1. The angel speaks clearly. Your house is not simply becoming safe again, it is becoming whole. Peace is not returning as a visitor, it is being established as a resident. The air itself will shift. The rooms will warm. The silence will soften. This moment is the sunrise after a long night. You will feel it not just in spirit, but in the weight of your breath, in the ease of your steps, in the clarity of your thoughts. That which was hidden will no longer disturb the flow of blessings or the quiet of your rest. This is how light works. It doesn't shout to overpower darkness. It simply arrives, and darkness cannot stay. You do not need to raise your voice or prepare for battle. The victory is already written. The energy that once clung to that hidden presence is already losing its grip, because divine timing has declared the end of its influence. And when truth enters, fear flees. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1-7. The angel has seen how you walked through your home, unaware how many times your spirit sensed something but didn't have language for it. And now, heaven's timing has brought this hidden matter into the light. It is not by accident. It is not too early. It is not too late. It is perfect, because truth never rushes, but it never fails to arrive. The walls that once held this thing quietly can no longer bear the brightness of the moment. What was concealed is now being revealed, not to create discomfort, but to make space for comfort to return. Your voice, once unsure, now carries the strength of alignment with divine will. You do not speak alone. You speak with the authority of the light that called you to this moment. The angel reminds you, what hides is not always large or loud. Sometimes it's small, an overlooked object, a box in the back of a closet, a trinket with no visible threat, but a lingering presence. Its influence was never in its size, but in the spiritual weight it carried. But even the heaviest dust cannot resist fresh wind. And that wind is moving now, sweeping, clearing, opening windows that have long been sealed. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. And yes, you will notice the shift, not only in your home, but in your own being. The way you wake, the way you settle into rest, the way you breathe in your own space will feel different, lighter, brighter, freer, because your home is being returned to its original intention, a refuge, a resting place, a vessel for presence, not pressure. There is a story of a man who inherited his childhood home. He moved in, expecting only nostalgia, only memories. But after months of living there, he began to feel burdened, anxious, restless, until one evening, following a persistent thought, he cleared out the attic and found remnants of an old, unresolved family conflict. Objects tied to betrayal and grief left behind, unspoken. He released them, forgave what had never been addressed, and in the days that followed, his home became his again, not just physically but spiritually. What had clung to the corners was gone. What had weighed down the air was lifted. This is the kind of shift now reaching your doorstep, a sacred turning, a divine reset. Not because you failed to see before, but because now heaven has decided it is time. The angel walks with you not as a guard standing at a distance, but as a companion guiding every step. Your hands will touch what must be touched, your eyes will see what must be seen, and your voice will speak peace into the places where silence once ruled. This is not just a moment, it is a threshold, and after this, your home will never feel the same again. You will walk through each room and recognize something missing, and realize that what's missing is the weight, the tension, the quiet unrest. In its place will be stillness that restores, openness that welcomes, light that lingers. You will go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and hills will burst into song before you. Isaiah 55:12. This is a holy shift, a sacred exchange. What once claimed space in your home is being exchanged for something far greater: freedom, wholeness, truth. And in the wake of this uncovering, you will find what you were always meant to have: a home that breathes peace, a life that holds light, and a future no longer shaped by what chose to hide in silence. But chosen one, as the divine light continues its quiet and holy work through your home, there is a deeper truth unfolding, one that is not only about what surrounds you, but what lives within you. The angel who walks beside you now is not only uncovering what has been hidden in corners and drawers, but is illuminating the sacred design of your own soul. For every shadow revealed in the home is a reflection of a shadow you were meant to overcome, and every room filled with new light is a mirror of the awakening now rising inside your spirit. Heaven is revealing that this moment is not just about space, it is about identity. When the light of the Lord enters a home, it does not stop at the walls, it travels inward. It does not merely expose hidden things, it activates forgotten gifts. It wakes up parts of you that have grown quiet under years of spiritual noise, years where survival required silence and discernment felt like a burden rather than a blessing. But now, in this moment of holy alignment, the divine is restoring your inner awareness not to overwhelm you, but to establish you, to root you in the truth of who you are. The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. Proverbs 20:5. There are rooms within your heart that mirror the very corners of your house, spaces that have held griefs too complex for words, instincts you doubted, emotions you suppressed because you didn't know what to do with them. The angel is saying, just as the light has moved through your home, it is also moving through you, clearing, lifting, awakening. Perhaps you've felt this already, not as chaos, but as clarity, a stirring that doesn't make noise, but makes sense. It is the awakening of your spiritual sensitivity. For too long, others may have questioned your insight, treated your intuition as overthinking, your discernment as fear. But heaven sees differently. Heaven has always known that your sensitivity was not weakness, it was training. That unease you once carried wasn't anxiety. It was the first sound of a truth trying to speak. Call to me, and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. Jeremiah 33:3. Now, as the light uncovers what has rested in silence within your home, something far more significant is surfacing: your inner knowing, your God-given authority. That same light is touching the part of you that once stayed quiet to keep peace, that once questioned whether what you felt was real. But this light does not only uncover, it confirms. You will begin to see the pattern, how certain objects in your home reflected inner beliefs that no longer belong, how old decisions echoed unhealed wounds, how certain relationships didn't fail, they taught. You were not broken in those seasons. You were becoming someone strong enough to recognize truth the moment it enters a room. There was a young man who, after a deep personal loss, could not shake the feeling that his home felt off. Everyone told him it was grief, that it would pass, but he couldn't rest. He couldn't pray. One day, he opened a drawer he hadn't touched in years and found a photograph of someone tied to past trauma. With trembling hands, he released it and felt peace settle like rain. That moment was not just about the object, it was about the affirmation of his discernment. His spirit had known. Now his voice did too. The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are children of God. Romans 8:16. The angel now reveals, this season is not only about cleansing space, it is about reclaiming your spiritual sight. You are being entrusted with a greater awareness. You will begin to notice when the atmosphere shifts. You will sense imbalance before it becomes conflict. You will no longer ignore what your spirit recognizes simply because others cannot see it. This is not spiritual paranoia. This is spiritual stewardship. It is maturity, not fear. It is wisdom, not worry. And it is a gift. The light that fills your home is preparing you to carry that light into every room of your life. You are being prepared to walk in spaces where discernment is needed and truth is not welcome. And you will carry both, not to judge, but to guard, not to call out, but to call forward. The power resting on your life is not just the ability to perceive, it is the authority to protect peace. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. And so, chosen one, here is what heaven is now saying clearly. The thing hidden in your house was never the real threat. It was only a symbol, a physical echo of a spiritual process. The true battle has always been about your awareness. Could you be trained to see what others overlook? Could you trust what your spirit knew, even when the world told you to quiet down? You were never fragile. You were being formed. And now, that formation is becoming function. You are stepping into a version of yourself that no past could predict and no fear can restrain. This is the unveiling of your spiritual authority, not loud or forceful, but clear and unshakable.